Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm here with Kate Balchin from Wold Top Brewery. How you doing, Kate?
Very well, thank you, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. Thanks very much for joining us and being willing to have a chat, share your story, and hear a bit more about Wold Top Brewery. So to kick things off, if you could start us with telling us a bit more about who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it for, please, Kate.
Okay, cool. Yeah. My name is Kate, and I am the managing director, or one of the managing directors of
Mhm.
Wold Top Brewery. We're a small family business based on the Yorkshire Wolds, not far away from Scarborough, Bridlington Way. It started out as a farm diversification set up by my parents in the early 2000s. Basically, we needed to make sure that the farm that we are still on today had a viable income going forward, and we were looking at what we were growing and what we had, and one of those main ingredients was malting barley, and so it seemed a very obvious decision to go from farming and also then use it to make some beer as well. Um, so that's basically where we started in 2003. Started off fairly small, just a small kind of family-based team, and over the years we've grown, obviously as things have improved and progressed, and we've been able to expand. I joined the company I officially joined the company in 2009. Late 2009, early 2010, alongside my partner Alex, who is now my co-director, and we basically took over the day-to-day running and management from 2015-ish, and now here we are today.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that. So in terms of, I suppose, where you've started off to where you are now, what's that journey been like over the last few years? Because the sector, as we know, as many sectors have been hit by a number of things. Tell us a little bit more about that journey and how things are for you right now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really interesting. So when we first started in the early 2000s, there wasn't a huge small microbrewery, independent kind of brewery market. It had got to the point within the industry where basically there was five or six big players, kind of your Marston's, Molson Coors, Diageo, Heineken, Carlsberg, that kind of stuff, those kind of companies, and they were very much that was the dominance in the marketplace. But there was a bit of a kickback on that, and the government introduced something called the progressive duty rate, or the half duty, small brewers relief. Well, that's what it's called now. Whereby if you were a small brewery producing under 5,000 hectolitres a year, you could access a preferential duty rate, which allowed those smaller brewers to become a bit more competitive and actually be able to compete against the larger brewers.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where we entered the market when that was available to us, which meant that even though the costs of making the beer were the same, we weren't having to. Well, no, the costs of the beers weren't the same because we were obviously doing it on a smaller scale, but it meant that because of the duty saving, we weren't having to put the price, the price wasn't prohibitive compared to someone like John Smith's or Tetley's. I mean, it still is a bit, but anyway. So when we started, that was kind of the situation, and you could probably count on two hands the number of small independent breweries within the Yorkshire and Humber region at that point.
Mhm.
Now, if you looked just in Yorkshire, there's probably so if you, I think it was something like there was like 250 small independent breweries across the whole of the UK at the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Now, it's probably more like 2,500 breweries who are across the whole country. So there is it has definitely helped the industry to progress, and it definitely made it a fairer place for different sized players.
Mhm.
Um, and so basically, we've just gone from that kind of small, kind of newish on the market with the availability of that market to then it becoming a much more crowded marketplace. So that's kind of been our journey over the years, but we've just kind of steadily just kind of made our way up the
Yeah, yeah.
up the ladder, as it were, to get to where we are now. Um,
Nice.
sorry, I feel like I've diverted a bit off the
That,
original
that's all right.
question.
No, 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 all good. Because I must confess that I've tried a few of your beers, and they are very, very good. Because I
Oh,
don't live
thank you.
too far away from Wold Top and see them around. In terms of standing out in that marketplace because of the explosion of craft breweries, what is it for you guys? How do you differentiate, or do you need to differentiate because the market is, well, as it is, that everybody likes to try different beers, and so, is it branding? What is it for you in terms of standing out?
So for us, the kind of the USP, the standout bit has always been the link back to the farm and to the land and the place that we are in. So by siting the brewery on the farm, we have been able to create like a closed loop really of kind of the main ingredient of our beer, which is
Mhm.
the barley. So the farm grows X amount of tons of malting barley every year. We It then sells that barley to a local maltsters, which is Muntons, who are just down the road in Flamborough, and then we buy that back malted and ready to use in our beer. So our kind of 90% of our main ingredient is grown on the farm,
Nice.
and we can see it out the office window kind of thing. So that's kind of really been our main kind of driving kind of point of difference for the last 20 odd years, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. Great stuff. And you still, is it a working farm in terms of growing, obviously, the barley there? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely still working farm. So Charlie, our farm manager, has just been out the last kind of 2 or 3 weeks. He's been getting the spring barley in, which is will be
Nice.
our 2027 malt. So yeah, 2026 harvest, which then goes in, and then will be the malt that we start using in 2027. Yeah, we've got other things on the farm as well. Just different rotations of crops and looking at different things, and a bit of livestock as well. So yeah, still working, still going.
Plenty going on.
Yes,
So
yeah.
in terms of the challenges and opportunities then for you guys, what are those looking ahead as far as you can kind of predict the future, but what do you see for you as as those?
I mean, yeah. So I mean, there's the general kind of normal challenges that face any business,
Yeah.
cash flow and finding the right people and that kind of thing. I guess from a point of view for us coming up, there's kind of a fair few changes from a legislation point of view, which is going
Mhm.
to cause a few things. We've just seen the introduction of EPR, which is extended producer responsibility in terms of recycling and packaging, which is having an impact on end costs.
Mhm.
And there's talk of a deposit return scheme coming in for recycling again on cans and bottles. So, kind of waiting to see how that comes out and how that's going to affect things. And then there's just, the general day-to-day changes that happen almost hourly at the moment, isn't there, with
Yeah.
with everything being so volatile in marketplaces and things. So
Yeah.
I would expect that we will see some fairly high ingredient costs and things when, in terms of processing energy mainly for processing ingredients and doing
Sure.
things like that, I guess. Yeah.
And as a business leader, what over your journey since running the business and kind of taking over the day-to-day operations, you say 2015 that you started doing that?
Yeah, that was when my parents basically stepped back, and then
Mhm.
my mum unfortunately became quite ill from 2017 onwards. So yeah, yeah, that was our kind of baptism of fire. And then yeah,
So 10, 11 years at the
yeah,
helm, what would you say is your biggest lesson that you've learned running the business?
probably to just take a step back and think for 2 seconds before opening my mouth, and maybe having a bit more patience than I would
Yeah.
potentially have gone with. Just that thing. But I think probably my biggest learning has been just the fact that it's not there's not just one thing that you can change that you change to make everything different. It's multiple little small changes that all come together to make that big impact. And so that's probably been a good learning experience, I think.
Yeah, nice kind of seeing the bigger picture. And
Yeah, just you know changing something in different departments means that actually on a whole the whole business works better rather than just focusing
yeah,
on one area kind of thing. Yeah.
great stuff. And how many people are in the team there?
So we basically we run two businesses alongside each other. So we've got the brewery, which has about
Mhm.
16 members of staff, and then we have a packaging company called Agricola Bottling, which does the packaging for Wold Top and also some external stuff as well. And we've got another 3 or 4 people in there, so kind of around about the 20 people mark most of the time.
What is it that inspires you to keep on going? So you got a team of 20.
Yeah.
You've obviously taken over from your parents, and you've got a number of things going on at the farm. In terms of getting up each morning and kind of still going to work and wanting to do it, what's that for you?
Um, I mean, it's the pride in seeing your product on the shelf and knowing that that's
Yeah,
something that your small team and your resources have created, and that other people are getting enjoyment from that. So that's kind of a really key factor. And then I guess future generations as well. I've got kids now, and I want them to have something that they can grow up and become part of if
yeah,
they want to, or just will provide for them and show them the value that if you work hard for something, you can get something out of it at the end, I guess.
fantastic. How old are your kids?
I have 9-year-old twin girls who are going on
Wow.
about 18 at the moment.
Yeah. And how do you find running the business with having twins?
Yeah, it's all right. To be honest, it was
Yeah,
quite hard at the beginning, but now they're
yeah.
fine. They just look after themselves. It's not a problem.
Do they get involved? Do they get sort of on the farm or helping out?
Yeah, I mean, they're still a little bit young to do anything, but we get them
Mm.
involved. When we have an event or a beer festival, something
Sure.
like that, we give them a t-shirt. They can go collect some glasses and
Nice.
sell some vouchers and stuff like that. So yeah, they quite enjoy it.
Excellent. And what is it in terms of, I suppose, hindsight advice? So if you were coming back to yourself at 18 and
Mm.
someone asked you, what's the best piece of advice to give yourself at 18? Knowing what you know now with all the experience that you have, what would that be?
It would be don't be afraid of asking for help. I
Mhm.
think there are lots of people who, um, even if they are working in a competitor business, I mean, brewing is quite a friendly industry anyway, but just, ask some, we're struggling to get this working on our kit. Has
Mhm.
anyone come across this before? Because on the whole, unless you're asking for some form of trade secret, no one wants to see anyone fail. I've kind of come to the decision,
Yeah,
conclusion that as much as you might be annoyed because they've got something, but no one wants to see anyone fail. No one wants to see anyone have to close a business or anything like that. So I think if you can ask someone and they can give you, and equally if we get asked as well, I'm more than happy to help out where you can as well.
brilliant. I love that piece of advice. Yeah, I think deep down we all kind of support each other and want each other to
Well,
succeed.
yeah,
We need each other to succeed in order to maintain a sustainable environment. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Fantastic. Good share. Thanks, Kate. So,
No
lastly,
worries.
then, just before we wrap things up, in terms of latest news about what you guys are up to, or if it's a case of sharing website, contact details, if people want to get in touch to find out more about what you do, please use this as an opportunity to do that now.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, well, so we've just actually launched a new website. So if anyone does want to check it out, that would be really good.
Yeah,
It's just woldtopbrewery.co.uk. Got some good events coming up over the summer. We do a great event called Singo Bingo where people sit around a table and enjoy some pints of lovely Wold Top beer and then sing along to a guy on a piano as they tick off songs on a bingo card. It's a great
excellent.
event, that one.
Yeah,
So we've got that one on. We've got our beer festival coming up in July, but unfortunately the tickets are all sold out for that. But if that does sound like something anyone would be interested in, then do keep an eye out on our social media and stuff because we put a lot of information out through that. But yeah, no, just always happy to chat if anyone if anyone fancies it. So yeah.
excellent. Thanks, Kate. Real pleasure talking with you. Thank you for sharing all that you have, and yeah, I wish you all the best for the future success of the business and keep on going.
Oh, thank you for having me as well. Yeah, really, really nice.